Hello, I'm Harsimrit and I welcome you to our session on resume writing. Do you know what a resume is? Maybe you don't, since you haven't gone looking for a job yet. But a resume is a 1 to 2 page document that lists a summary of your education and work experience and other skills relevant to the job you're applying for. It highlights your accomplishments to show a potential employer that you are qualified for the job. Remember, it's not a biography of your life. What is the purpose of a resume? It is to get you an interview. So when you apply for an interview, along with your application, you attach your resume. At times, you may walk in for an interview. So you walk in for an interview carrying your resume and you hand it in at the reception itself. A resume can reflect a lot about you, all about your qualifications, your job experience if you have any, and also about you as a person. Think about it this way. Suppose I'm conducting interviews today. 100 people walk in response to my advertisement. Can I sit down with each and every person and start speaking with each and every person? Okay, what is your final qualification? Have you done your graduation, your matriculation? What were your subjects? How did you fare? Do you have any work experience? What are your hobbies? What will I do with all that information? Will I open a pad and start writing it down, taking down names and then scribbling information about people and then going over my notes? No, I can't waste time with all that. What I would do is expect you to put down that information on paper and give me a piece of paper with all the information neatly arranged. So that when I sit down and talk to you, I can just glance over your resume and I would know what kind of a person I'm speaking to. So that is the employer's perspective. Why do you need a resume? In this competitive job-seeking environment, job seekers have to make sure that their resume stands out from the pack. 100 people apply for one job, there are 100 resumes. Of course, there may be a good number of openings. However, the number of openings are always less and the people applying more. So a good resume would help you get that interview. A resume needs to be developed in a professional manner. The applicant should take time and interest to write a good resume. It makes a lot of difference. In this session, we will tell you all about what a good resume is and how do you prepare one for yourself so that when you apply for an interview, you would get through the screening round effectively. There are three main types of resumes. A resume can be chronological, functional, or combination. The chronological resume starts by listing out your work history, beginning with the most recent position and then continuing in reverse order to your first job. So it is basically used by people who have a good bit of experience in their field. A person who is settled in his field would actually emphasize on his last job and then show how he has developed as a professional. Similarly, academic qualifications are also arranged in the same manner. Your last qualification comes first, and then following that is the qualification before that, and so on until your matriculation. Would a chronological resume be correct for you? Not really, since you're freshers. So you would probably have to make a different kind of a resume. The functional resume focuses more on the skills you have acquired rather than a listing of the positions you've held or the work you've done. Functional resumes highlight a few key areas of experience if you have them. They list responsibilities and accomplishment for your skills. You may want to consider a functional resume if you're a new graduate or if you have gaps in your work history. Suppose you did pick up a job at some stage but then you stopped working and later you try to find another job, then this is the kind of resume you need to prepare. The functional resume is also suitable for job seekers who are changing their field. It happens a lot these days. People from one background may try to get into another industry. So they have to focus more on their skills and not on their work experience, which may not be relevant. So today you would need to prepare a functional resume for yourself. Later, you could switch to the combination resume or the chronological resume. What is a combination resume? Here you mention your skills along with your work experience. What companies have you worked with? What skills did you acquire there in reverse order? As well as your education and other features like your hobbies or your accomplishments. Now let us discuss the basic sections of a resume. Resumes can be divided into three sections: the heading, the body, and the conclusion. The heading. The top third of the resume is the heading. So if you just hold out a piece of paper, the heading should take the top 1/3 part of it. It contains your name, phone numbers, address, and other details such as your occupation, titles, email ID, and so on. So it would identify you as an individual and give your contact information. You need to be very careful with your contact information. Suppose I want to call you for an interview. Which number do I call you at? Not at a wrong number. It has to be the right number. In fact, you should also provide an alternate number, landline and a mobile phone if possible. Similarly, your email address, your mailing address, and so on. The heading of the resume can also contain a goal and objectives. Now, what is the purpose of a resume? It is to get you a job in a particular profile. So you need to provide a heading there. The next part of the resume is the body. In a one-page resume, the body is the middle portion, taking up a half or more of the total space of the resume. Now think about it. How long should your resume be? Should it be 6 to 7 sheets? No, not required. It should be one piece of paper, and the information on that piece of paper may be limited to a single side of a page or to two sides of it. In the body of the resume, you present the details of your education, family background, and work experience, if any. This information is arranged in reverse chronological order. So you need to make a table regarding your basic qualifications. In the top column, you need to put in details of your graduation, after which it would be details of your higher secondary and then your matriculation. In the body section, you can also include your accomplishments. For example, any prizes that you've won, or whether you've got some achievements in academics, whether you've participated in co-curricular activities and you have something to show for it. You may also add your hobbies and your interests. In the final section of the resume or the conclusion, you can present other related information on your background. You can list activities, hobbies and interests, something about you as a person. Now let us take a look at the resume. Please look at the screen. We've displayed the basic sections of a resume for you. You can see the various parts of the resume, the opening, the body, and the conclusion. Now let's talk about the points to be kept in mind while writing our resume. First of all, your resume needs to be typed. Please don't design it in handwriting. It should not be handwritten. These days, employers expect a neatly typed and printed resume. And why is that? Simple reason, handwriting may be hard to read. A typed resume is much easier for the employer to read. And of course, these days you should maintain your resume online as well. Suppose you have to apply for an interview online, the resume should be there for you to send in attachment with your mail. The next thing to keep in mind is that the formatting of the resume is right. It should fall neatly into the sections that we've already discussed. And please make sure that the information which you put into a table is neatly put and does not look untidy. The font size of the resume should also be 11 or 12. It should not be too small or hard to read. It should not be too large, which also looks a little ridiculous. Along with that, a few more rules to be kept in mind. The text of the resume should be black in color. Please don't use colored text or highlight parts of your resume. That's not required. Now coming to the don'ts of resume writing. These are the common mistakes that we find on resumes that we receive. First of all, the font is too small. So that is why make sure that your document is legible and stick to the recommended font size of 11 or 12. The next thing to watch out for is spelling mistakes. Please use the spell check tool, but also realize that you need to manually check your resume as well. There should be no spelling errors anywhere on it. How would you spell matriculation? matriculation. Higher secondary, graduation, such terms need to be spelled correctly. Avoid common mistakes. Please don't keep on mentioning something like I have done. Okay, I have done graduation from this college, I have done graduation from that school. It's much more sensible for you to make a neat table showing your qualifications. Apart from that, when you talk about your achievements, again, please don't use repetitive words. Next, leaving out dates. When you put in your information, especially about your academic qualifications, you do need to mention when. So please put down the month and the year. You need to mention the time period of your graduation. Was it April 2004 to, let's say, March 2007? Maybe? No, that'll be before your time. But do mention the time period. If you don't do that, you give the impression that you're trying to leave out certain information or you're hiding it. The next pitfall here is using someone else's words. Your resume should be prepared by you. Now, in case somebody else writes your resume, it may not sound very sincere. And please use simple language. Your objective should not be something like to achieve great heights, to reach for the skies, flowery language which doesn't make sense. It could be something as simple as, I would like to get a job opportunity with a good brand and build a career in customer relationship management. Precise, to the point, simple, and no flowery language, which just sounds silly and insincere. Next, carry at least 2 copies of your resume. Another pitfall here is having just one version of it. You need to actually have several copies of your resume. In fact, have it available online where you can take more copies of it. Cluttered information. Now, please filter out information that's not really relevant to the position you're applying for. So for every job interview, you need to go over your resume again, keep only relevant information in it. Now, if I'm applying for the customer service industry, Do I have to put in years of, let's say, experience teaching in a school? Maybe not. It's not really relevant to that industry. So I may remove it. Do I have to go on and on about the awards I won in school in music competitions? I may mention an odd award, but I don't really have to put in much more there. The next thing to watch out for is personal information. How much personal information do you really need to give on a resume? What is the aim of a resume? Getting you an interview, getting you through a screening process. So personal information like details of your family members or details about your friends and relatives or too much about your likes and dislikes should not be mentioned on your resume. A simple mention of your date of birth, your name and your father's name, your contact information is enough. You don't really have to put in details like your religion or your ethnicity or any other such thing. Also, make sure that you don't use too many abbreviations or contractions. Remember, your resume is a formal document. Be sure that you write out proper terms in your resume and not use abbreviations. So instead of BA, graduation. You may mention, of course, in the field of humanities or science or commerce. So you have prepared your resume, you've sent it to a prospective employer, and he's called you for an interview. So when you walk in with another copy of your resume, of course, and present it to the person taking your interview, that person will immediately start asking you some questions based on your resume. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Now, the information that you give that person should be in keeping with the information on your resume, but of course it should be more about you as a person and not just as brief as what you put on your resume. So what all would I have on the resume? Just your contact information and your basic qualifications, a mention of your hobbies maybe, or a few special achievements, but you need to speak a little more about yourself. So you would actually talk more about the basic information that you've put down on your resume. There is always the hobby question. Now you mention your hobbies on the resume, right? Why do you do that? It's normally the next question. What are your hobbies? A few common hobbies that we find on the average resume are listening to music, traveling, and watching cricket or watching movies. But there are a few problems that we encounter here. People don't write listening to music. They always write listening music. Music sunna. Let's keep in mind when you translate that to English, it is listening to music. And if you do put down the hobby listening to music on your resume, my question would be, what kind of music do you like to listen to? And now you have to speak a little more about it. Now, what is your personal taste in music? I could say that I like listening to all kinds of music. I think the music scene in India is very good at the moment. I can listen to the FM for hours. What all do I hear on the FM? Well, basically songs from Bollywood films, and I think they're very good because they cover such a wide range of genres. I can hear classical music there. I can hear folk songs. I can hear a lot of peppy numbers as well as the occasional sad song too. There are a lot of very good singers and so on and so forth. But if your taste in music is more specific, I like to hear hard rock, especially the songs of bands like Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, Metallica, etc. Suppose you like listening to soft music or sweet music, don't just say sad songs or romantic songs or sentimental songs. that does not give me a great impression about you. It tells me that you really don't know what you want and you can't really express yourself. So I may say something like, I am fond of soft music, especially the songs of Sonu Nigam. But then you have to talk more about Sonu Nigam. Don't just stop there. Tell me more. What is special about his music? What makes you listen to him? Also, please make sure that you put down the hobbies which really are your hobbies. And don't just write down something like traveling because it sounds good. If you tell me that traveling is your hobby, I will ask you about it. Where all have you traveled? Which places have you been to? Where do you like to travel? Where would you suggest that I take a holiday? And now you have to be able to talk about your trips. So I find a lot of people tell me that traveling is their hobby, but when I actually ask them about it, they'll say, ma'am, so far I haven't traveled. So that is a pitfall again. Please put down hobbies which really are your own. I would like to mention that there is no need to be ashamed of what you like to do in your free time. Suppose your hobby is kite flying. Why can't you talk about it? Kite flying is a traditional sport. Kite flying is a competitive sport these days. You can talk with passion about whatever you like to do. As long as you're specific, as long as you can express yourself, it does not make a bad impression. Suppose you like watching Hindi films. Is that something for you to feel ashamed about? Will it make a better impression to say that you like watching English films? No, certainly not. Talk about Hindi films. But then again, be specific. Which films have you specially enjoyed watching? Can you talk about any recent film that you watched? You should be able to talk about it specifically. Along with your hobbies, you should also mention your strengths on your resume. It helps the interviewer open the interview. So if you put down your strengths as, what would you put down as your strengths? Be honest. What are your strengths? If you don't have any strengths, you shouldn't apply for an interview. Your strengths could be intelligence, confidence, strong communication skills, the ability to work under pressure, discipline, or something else. But then again, do expect questions. Suppose I claim that I am intelligent. It's very easy for an interviewer to find out if I'm really intelligent. He'll simply ask me one or two questions about current affairs or general knowledge, and I should be able to give good answers. Suppose I say I have good communication skills. Of course, the interviewer can just chat with me and judge that for himself. Now, suppose I say that I have the ability to handle pressure. The interviewer would normally ask you for an incident from your life to prove it. I can give you a real life story here. A trainee of mine was going through a mock interview. He put down the ability to handle pressure as his strength. I asked him for an incident from his life. He told me that when he was studying in the 12th standard, his father had fallen very ill. At one point, he was admitted in hospital. His mom and his sister were in the hospital with his father all day. He used to be at school, or he used to be running around taking his exams and studying for his board exams. At night, he used to be in his father's hospital room. At times, the father needed attention at night, or he used to get some sleep at night. At the end of a few months of a lot of stress and strain, his father had recovered and he had scored good marks in his board exam. So I believe him. This boy has the ability to work under pressure. Similarly, whatever you claim has to be proved in a way. So don't ever claim strengths that are not your own. And yes, please don't put down your weaknesses. You never do that. It's an opportunity for the interviewer to catch you. So what is your resume really at the end of the day? It's quite a simple resume since you would be looking for your first jobs. The first part of it is the opening, where you put down your objective and your contact information. The next part of it would be the body of your resume, where you talk about your qualifications, and most of you would not have work experience at this stage. In case you have done some work, do put it down in a reverse chronological order. The final part of your resume would be the conclusion, where you can mention your hobbies and your strengths, and that is all. However, it may be less, but it needs to be perfect. Please make sure that you don't make any mistakes in the writing of your resume. Keep it down to one side of a page or a little over one side of a page, but a single sheet of paper. Make sure there are no spelling mistakes or typographical errors which will give a shabby impression. Now I'm going to leave you with a home assignment. Write out your resume today. Type it if necessary. Let's start working on it right away because tomorrow your job depends on it. With that, I'll leave you for the day. Until we meet again in some other session, goodbye.